Hey guys, Jimmy Van here from Know Your News, and you might also know me from Fightful.com. Now, Know Your News is all about news stories that are weird and funny and even stupid sometimes. But this video is something a little different. To quote the great pro wrestler Lance Storm,
"If I can be serious for a minute."
I'm going to talk to you about something that has affected my life and something that affects the lives of millions of people around the world, an autoimmune disorder called alopecia. Now, what is an autoimmune disorder? It means that your immune system mistakes healthy cells and healthy tissues as a threat and attacks them. There are dozens of autoimmune disorders out there, and according to the Cleveland Clinic, 1 in 15 people have one in the US alone. With alopecia, the immune system attacks the hair follicle, causing hair loss. If the word alopecia sounds familiar to you, you might have heard about it after the incident at the Oscars where Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. It happened after Chris made a joke about Will's wife Jada Pinkett Smith being G.I. Jane, when in reality, her bald head was not a fashion choice and she actually has alopecia. Matter of fact, there are several other celebrities and athletes that have it as well, and you might not even realize it. In this video, I'm going to tell you my alopecia story, and in future videos, I'll talk about potential treatment options that I'm currently doing or considering, as well as treatment options that I do not plan to touch. Back in 2004, I was in my late 20s. One morning I woke up, looked in the mirror, and noticed that I had a bald circular patch right under my chin, right around here. I didn't know what it was, and I thought maybe it was an allergic reaction to something that I ate. So I ignored it at first, but it got bigger and bigger, so I visited a dermatologist, and this is where I was introduced to this thing called alopecia. There are 3 main types of this condition. Alopecia areata is the most common type and refers to bald patches or spots, usually on the scalp. Alopecia totalis means hair loss affects the entire head, including the eyebrows and eyelashes. And alopecia universalis refers to hair loss all over the body. In my case, I started out with alopecia areata, and it only affected my facial hair. I decided against treatment options at that time because I could have tried topical creams or gels, but I was told that they were acne causing, and I was a young single guy at the time, so I didn't want to deal with that. I decided to just keep a close shave in order to hide the bald patch, and eventually all of my facial hair came out. Round 2 for me happened a few years later in 2007. One morning I was at the office, and a coworker said, "What's wrong with your eye?" I looked in a mirror and discovered that half of the eyelashes above my left eye were gone. It was back to the dermatologist for me, who prescribed me with a couple of treatment options that you apply to your eyelid with a brush. In my case, they didn't work, and very slowly over the next couple of years, all of the eyelashes came out of both eyes. This has always been somewhat of a nuisance for me, not because of the aesthetic, but rather because of the practicality. If it snows, if it rains, if it's windy out, I get everything in my eyes. But it's something I just learned to live with over the years. Around the same time that my lashes started coming out, I noticed the first bald patch on my scalp. My dermatologist tried steroid injections, and they worked. In fact, for over 10 years after that, I went to my dermatologist on a routine basis for the injections every time a bald patch appeared, and every time it went away. That is, until suddenly it didn't. A couple of years ago, the injections stopped working, and so the bald patches got bigger. Then new ones appeared. Then they got bigger. Eventually, it affected my entire scalp, and these days I'm sporting a bald head, aside from a few surviving hairs here and there that I shave off. Alopecia also started to affect other parts of my body. Like for example, most of the hair is gone from my ankles to my knees and from my waist to my chest. Thank God for Manscaped. Another side effect of alopecia is what the National Library of Medicine calls nail dystrophy, or basically pitted lines and brittleness with your nails. I've had this for years as well, but aside from looking a little different, it's never affected me in a negative way. I figured it was inevitable that alopecia would eventually get to my eyebrows, and sure enough, a few months ago, it started happening above my left eye. Now you might be asking yourself, why am I doing this video? Well, we've been fortunate to build platforms with Know Your News and with Fightful that reach thousands of people around the world every day. I want to utilize these platforms to help provide awareness about alopecia and to let anyone dealing with this condition know you're not alone and it's okay. Stay tuned to my next video where I'll talk about the ways that I'm looking to treat this condition And if you're dealing with alopecia, or any autoimmune disorder for that matter, post your story in the comments on YouTube, and I might feature you in a future video. Until then, check out Know Your News for stories that are totally real, but totally ridiculous. Bye for now.